Myanmar leader Min Aung Hlaing pushing on with a mission to circumvent diplomatic isolation in Russia for his first visit since assuming the presidency in April. The Myanmar leader laying a wreath at a war memorial dedicated to Soviet soldiers killed during the Second World War, located near the Kremlin Wall. This ahead of talks with Russia's president. Agreements due to be signed to further build on economic and security cooperation, which has stayed robust despite the coup in Myanmar and Russia's war on Ukraine. Moscow supplying arms and military training while expanding ties in energy and investment, offering crucial diplomatic support for Min Aung Hlaing as his administration seeks greater international recognition amid Western sanctions. And for the latest, Dasha Chernyshova joins us from Moscow. CNA senior correspondent Leong also standing by. Dasha, we start with you. Min Aung Hlaing bringing with him a number of ministers as well as business leaders, so a whole string of agreements we can expect to be signed. But when he meets with Russian President Vladimir Putin, what can we expect?
Well, the Kremlin has said that there will be a series of documents signed after the negotiations are held at the Kremlin, and we understand those documents will be in different spheres where the two countries are eyeing deeper cooperation. Primarily, this is the area of trade, economic cooperation, as well as investment, energy, transport infrastructure, construction, and there has been a meeting with the Prime Minister of Russia, that took place earlier in the day, and we understand the sides have been talking about tighter cooperation in the sphere of energy, with Russia saying they are now starting the construction of the low-energy nuclear power plant in Myanmar, and Moscow also saying that they are now tasking the governments to increase the efforts to create the conditions for better and deeper cooperation of the small and medium-sized businesses on both sides, so that there is a tighter cooperation on the people-to-people level. We also understand the sides are now working to enhance trade in 2024. It has already grew by 40%, that the plan is much wider, so they do want to make sure that tourism is another area in which the two sides are going to cooperate, because this will be bringing the understanding between the nations to a much closer area. So we understand they are going to work on very different areas, and the documents that are expected to be signed will be trying to push forward all of this agenda.
All right, Wycott, let's bring the questioning to you. Min Aung Hlaing taking office in April. Since then, he's been to India, China, Laos, Thailand, and now Russia. This meeting, though, as we just heard from Dasha, lots of deals to be signed, very significant economically and diplomatically for Min Aung Hlaing.
Yeah, that's right. Dasha mentioned a few deals that were signed in Russia. I'm going to just talk about quickly the diplomatic engagements that Min Aung Hlaing is seeking. Now, you mentioned a few countries, Wesu, India, China, Thailand, Laos. These are your immediate neighbors of Myanmar. So right now, I would say Myanmar is now launching its further away engagement with allies that are further away from its borders. In fact, on his way from Myanmar to Russia, Min Aung Hlaing had made two brief stops, first to Rajasthan in India and then to Kazakhstan, where he also met officials at the Kazakhstan airport. He's now in Russia, but we are also hearing reports that he may visit Cambodia in September. Now, this story was first broken by Phnom Penh Post, quoting a few officials. I reached out to various ministries in Cambodia, and I'm told that at this point they have nothing new to add to this development. Now, let's not forget that engagement is not just away from Myanmar. When Min Aung Hlaing eventually returns back home, he is expecting a visit from ASEAN Chair and also the Foreign Secretary of Philippines, Lazaro. I'm also told that Lazaro has invited her bloc counterparts, whoever is free or wants to join her on the trip to Myanmar is free to do so. So the engagements for Min Aung Hlaing will continue at least towards the end of the year.
All right, Dasha, Wycott there laying out tier 1, tier 2 type travel arrangements for Min Aung Hlaing. Now, Russia may be geographically far away, but in terms of ties, since 2021, Myanmar suffering diplomatic isolation, but Russia, all those years, has still kept ties with Myanmar healthy and strong.
Well, indeed, the Russians are saying they are willing to continue to deepen relationship with any country that is seeking equal partnership with Moscow. And this is one such example. While the immediate effects of this cooperation may not be quite evident, in the long run, many observers are saying there is a strategy that Moscow is using here. First of all, it is the diplomatic engagement showing that Moscow is willing to work with the countries in different parts of the globe, especially important for Moscow now that it is under numerous Western sanctions. And most importantly, Russia is also viewing Myanmar as part of the wider region where Russia is seeking more presence. So Myanmar may be seen as a sort of a bridgehead for the Russian presence in the Southeast Asia, with the Russians also working on the military drills in that part of the globe, something that is demonstrating the presence of Russia there, while the Western countries are trying to institutionalize their deeper political and military engagement by the creation of the AUKUS alliance. So obviously for Moscow it is important in that geostrategic sense as well, but also diplomatically showing to the countries of the region that Russia is a reliable partner with whom the countries can elaborate and deepen their ties in different spheres.
All right, Wykit, final question back to you. Dasha earlier laying out the deals we can expect from this visit. We look at Min Aung Hlaing's entourage, we will have a much clearer, more precise idea of exactly which deals Myanmar is hoping to strike.
Exactly. There is a delegation name list that you can get reference to as to what's important to Myanmar. And one of them has been mentioned by Dasha earlier. Energy. The energy minister is with Min Aung Hlaing, and this is of course because Russia has pledged to help Myanmar build, like Dasha said, a small nuclear power plant to use clean energy. There's also traveling with Min Aung Hlaing, the Tarintai chief minister, and that also speaks to a 2025 deal where Russia will be investing in Dawei Special Economic Zone, building ports and oil refinery. Interestingly, there's also a CEO from the Myanmar Space Agency. Now, out of the 6 previous visits by Min Aung Hlaing to Russia, 4 of which he had spent some time visiting Russia's space agency. So we are potentially looking at collaboration on satellite research, aerospace technology. And as you mentioned earlier, Wei Su, Russia still remains a primary arms and weapons supplier to Myanmar. Myanmar, as we know, is still having a war with its opponents. As we speak, this war has still not ended, and many are still saying that there are airstrikes being launched in villages, killing dozens in Myanmar.
Oh, thanks. CNA's senior correspondent Leong and Dasha Chernyshova speaking to us there from Moscow.